Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is August 24th, 2019. This is Mo Banter Podcast episode 7? I think it's 7. We'll say it's 7. Um, as always, I am Mo. I'm sorry if I seem a little raggedy or tired or I just sound uh, not necessarily disinterested because I'm not. It's been like a month and a half since I've had the time to actually do a podcast and kind of getting back into the flow of doing it. Hopefully I can develop time. It's just been busy, man. Like life is life as a parent is crazy. Like it's super insane. If you're ever gonna have kids, anybody out there, um I hope you're ready. Because you are literally gonna have two full-time jobs. My kid's been doing really good in golf. I know I've spoken about that a few times on the podcast before. He's done really good at golf. Last weekend he came in first at a event at his home course. And for the season, actually, he's won 3 out of the 4 tournaments they had at that course, which is one of the best strings he's put together. He also had a streak of 3 in a row for the TGR tournament, which is the Tiger Woods Learning Lab, or TGR Foundation Lab, or I forgot, they changed the name and I can't remember right now like what they changed it to. But anyways, he won 3 in a row, and he actually won first place for that tournament series there as well. He won 3 out of 4 at the current series. I think he has 1 or 2 more tournaments to go, and the only one that he didn't win was the one where one of his buddies actually beat him out by 1 stroke. So all in all, like, just the improvement I've seen in his game has just been amazing. And he's in band now. He's in choir. He's in high school. I am the parent of a high school kid now. 4 more years, and hopefully he goes to college and completes things and accomplishes things in his life that I could only dream of. And not because I wasn't given the opportunity to. Because I was given plenty of opportunities. Just that I, as a child, as a kid, as a dumb kid, I refused to take the opportunities presented to me to full effect. And that's a mistake that I don't want him to repeat. And those are instances in my life that I don't regret. Because I look back at my life and I go, you know what? Everything that I've done in my life has brought me to where I am in my life now. Yes, I'm not rich. I am successful. In comparative to where I feel somebody of my upbringing, my mental thought process as a kid and everything, should be. So I do consider myself successful. And he shows drive, he shows ambition, he shows greater potential than I ever did at his age. And I want to make sure that I nourish that. And also to kind of have my back in case he ever comes up to me like, hey, how come I never blah, 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 blah. Bro, I gave you everything that I could. You know what I'm saying? I put myself in debt. Worked my ass off, stressed out over a bunch of fucking bosses I didn't want. I should have fucking punched, and I didn't for your sake. So I can have money to make sure you had the ability to go to your trips, to participate in band, to participate in golf, to participate in all the things that I would have died to actually do. I mean, not necessarily the same things, but just the opportunities. And that kind of brings me to the topic of what I want to discuss here today. It's going to be kind of fun. It's going to be fun for me. And that's kind of why this whole thing started. I wanted a hobby. I wanted to express things. I just wanted to throw out crazy ideas and see who else had the same thought process. Not so we can become friends. I just want you to know that you're not alone. That it's okay to have crazy thoughts. And what I mean by crazy thoughts is, look, everything that I try to do in my life, while not always positive, aims to be positive. Not for my life as a whole, but for everybody around me. Now, if you got some crazy thoughts and it's like racist ass thoughts or predatory thoughts and shit like that, no. For all that shit, look, man, you evil as fuck and you wicked. You might need to go get some help. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are not the thoughts that you should be having. If you do have those thoughts, sorry I said what I said, but you should go out and get some serious help. You know what I'm saying? There's crazy positivity thoughts that are going to push you forward, and there's crazy negativity thoughts that all they're going to do is harm you and harm the people that you love and harm other people that you don't know. So those thoughts do need to be looked at. Those thoughts do need to. And I'm sorry that I said wicked. I was kind of just flowing, and I'm gonna leave it in there. I'm not gonna edit it out because like I said, those are sometimes just the thoughts, and that was like word vomit. So I do apologize for saying wicked and stuff like that. But if you do have some thoughts that have the potential to cause harm, please go get looked at. Please go get help wherever you may need help. Find somebody you can talk to. I am not the best source of that. But if you feel like, hey, this guy kind of understands, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. The email is mobanterpodcast@gmail.com. That's moebanterpodcast@gmail.com. Or leave a comment on the cloud page, or leave a comment in the YouTube page, because the audio always has a video. And again, sorry for the word vomit. It just kind of comes out, man. I'm human. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I say? I'm human. So what I wanted to talk about is, okay, so I started a new job about a month ago, which is part of the reason why I don't have the time. It's not because it's taking like weekend gigs away from me. It's just that with my kids starting in high school, me starting a new job, stuff that needs to be handled around the house that gets pushed until the weekend. There just isn't time. There just isn't enough time. Where was I going with this? Well, anyways, I got a new job. I left my previous place where I worked with a really, really great friend of mine's. And then long and behold, he also got a new gig. And he's leaving. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy for him, man. He got a nice pay raise. He's going to learn some new skills. Hopefully that takes him to just be successful, like, in like the next 2 or 3 years. Like, he's a success already. Like, he is very, very successful, I believe. Like, we talked about this all the time, and I believe he is a success just like me. You know what I'm saying? We're both Latinos, and I think from the upbringing that we had, to the way that we thought, to even like the way we are now, he is about like 6 years younger than I am. So there is like a very large age difference. But I believe we're both the first generation born and raised here. So we have a little bit of like the Latino hardworking, and for the lack of a better term, wetback mentality. That, nothing's going to stop us. Nothing can stop us. And we'll take whatever gig we can. But, we kind of took that mentality and moved it for something that doesn't provide us comfort. And instead is going to provide us with a better future for our kids. And I know wetback by itself is a very derogatory term to use, but there's so many nuances in the English language, like that's going to be one of them as well. Like people who come here from Latin America, you know what I'm saying? They're given depending on who you ask or who's using it, one or two things is going to come out of it. Why do you call people wetbacks? Well, one of them is a lot of people who come over here, mainly to Texas, have to cross the Rio Grande. When they exit the Rio Grande, they're wet. Their backs are wet, right? Wet back. Some of them have kids. They march over here. They usually carry the kids on their back, or it's sweaty. Wet back. Or they come to America successfully, California, Texas, New Mexico, wherever, man. I mean, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And the people who seek better are also everywhere, and they're going everywhere. They go wherever opportunity will have them. They work hard, bust their ass. They sweat like crazy. It's on their back, wet back. So that's the mentality I'm talking about. It's like, no matter what you have to do, no matter what it is that you have to do, you're going to sweat your ass off. You're going to work your ass off to take advantage of the opportunity you are given. You know what I mean? But when I was growing up, that mentality for us, for Latinos, meant go get a warehouse gig, go get a janitorial gig, go get something where you know you'll be stable and you can work there for a long time. I didn't want that life. I don't want to be comfortable. Like stability is great. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't matter what race you are, what you are. Stability is fucking fantastic. And I've been granted stability for like the last 6-7 years. Will not take that for granted. But as far as finding comfort in my work, I don't seek that. I don't seek comfort. I don't seek to find a place where I can go, oh damn, like this is legit. I can stay here and be partying. Now the place that I'm at now, I can see myself being there long term. I can. I really truly can see myself being there long term. The plan currently right now for my current place of employment is, I want to be there for as long as my kid is in high school, minimum 4 years, 5 years. Put in some good time, learn some new skills, learn some new, meet some new people, see how I can influence positive change, influence positive procedures, and hopefully along the way help a lot of people who may need help, who may need guidance in finding their next opportunity. That is my hope. That is my dream. But anyways, going back. So my friend's leaving. I'm leaving. And when I left, we had this whole set of like Dragon Ball Fighter tournaments. Dragon Ball Fighters matches that we played leading up to it. I captured some of them. The plan is just like a month and a half old now. But the plan is to take all that footage, cut it up, and then kind of, have it out there just so we can show like what we did for a year and a half. It's something stupid, but it's something that we, that we had fun. Like that was our lunchtime. That was our break time. Like that was shit where we bonded. And right before we left as well, there was a guy on a different team that we went out for beers. And the whole purpose of that was to kind of just have beers and kind of just like chill and get fucked up drunk during lunchtime. Because I didn't give a fuck. I was leaving, right? So what the fuck did I care? I would have gone back to work drunk. For them, it wasn't really an option. For me, it was. I didn't care. But it's funny, though. We had one beer, and then we started talking about the FGC. FGC, for people who don't know, is the fighting game community. I'm part of the FGC. The homie that we worked with, the homie that we went out to drink with, part of the FGC. We grew up playing fighters. We still have a vast interest in fighting games. And we talk about the tech in fighting games. And all of that led to a very interesting discussion about parenting. And how, like, if you could apply the same thought process to fighting games as you can to parenting, you're already a step ahead. Maybe even two. And for some of it, you might be like, what the fuck do you mean by that? That's the dumbest fucking thing I ever heard. Maybe. It could be possible. It's fine. I go, fuck. Think what you want to think. This is what I think. So what it came down to, and the reason why this kind of inspired this topic was because I kind of broke it down to him. I was like, look, man, everything that you do in parenting is just like learning matchups. It's just like learning new tech in a fighting game. And I'll be using some terms, and I'll try to explain them along the way so nobody gets lost. I don't feel like, hey, this guy's just kind of focusing on this one subset of people, and that's not the case. I want everybody to be included as much as possible and learn something along the ways. So my favorite games of all time, fighting games, or even just franchises, Street Fighter. Love Street Fighter. Street Fighter 5, not so much. Not my game. It took them forever to get E-Honda in there. I'm an E-Honda main. But like Third Strike, 4, 2, Alpha, love Street Fighter. My latest jam has been Dragon Ball Fighters ever since that game. Ever since I first touched that game when it was just like 4 characters. I touched it, I was like, this game's going to be fun. And it was. And to this day, I wish I could keep playing it, but, I can't find a community around it. I don't have time. And then going online, it leaves something for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of, it's not for me, And, Soul Calibur, I grew up with Soul Calibur. Well, not really grew up with this, Soul Edge into Soul Calibur. That was like one of the first games where I had one of those aha moments where I broke the game down, realized what can be done in the game, and then like bodied some dude who was bodying everybody at the arcade. And that was like my first game ever in that game. I was like, yeah, I took that shit. Tekken, and I respect Tekken, and I like Tekken, and Blaze Blue, and all the fighters you can think of. For the most part, you know what I'm saying? There's very few fighters that I truly despise or hate. I don't think one exists that I despise or hate. Maybe not. But there are some that I just don't find fun for me to keep going with it. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean I won't try them. Doesn't mean I don't have an interest in learning about them, so I can watch it and know what people are talking about when it comes to those fighting games. They just not for me play wise, or just the thought process for me is not there to kind of enjoy that game. But anyways, so the way it broke down, and I told him was like, look, man, everything is matchups. So let's just go with like birth. You know what I'm saying? My son was born 14 years ago, and I had experience taking care of kids. I've been taking care of kids since I was 10 years old. I'm 36 now, 37. I've been taking care of kids since I was 10 years old. Or at least watched kids being taken care of when I was 10 years old. I think the first time I actually started babysitting a kid was I was like 11. Big difference, right? I was like 11, I think, when I started taking care of kids. Mainly just my little brother. 2-3 years later, became a little sister. So I've been taking care of kids, you know, kind of not full time, but like for a large chunk from like 12 and up. And I think there was like 4 years where I didn't because my brother and sister were older, and I was finding myself with work and everything. And then I had a kid myself at 23. And you know, so when my kid was born, I already knew how to change a diaper. I already knew how to warm up the bottles. I already knew how to hold the baby. I knew how to do a lot of things. You know, give the baby a bath, make sure the baby was clean. You know, little things along those lines. You know, like I knew these things because that's what I kind of grew up with. My wife, on the other hand, she didn't really know how to take care of a kid. She was scared she was going to break him. She was scared. You know, like it was just an experience difference. Like, yeah, she helped take care of her little brother, but she was never home alone with him. She never had to kind of worry about him. She never had to feed him bottles and do all that stuff. She kind of started taking care of him when he was older. You know what I'm saying? Getting up for school with him, taking him to school, getting breakfast ready for him. You know, like those things that are done once the kid can kind of tell you what's wrong with them, what they need and stuff like that. And you become their servant. You know, but like early on, like that was me. Like I knew how to take care of the kids. And the way that I broke this down was like, look, like my first fighting game that I really like kind of got into, I was like 7 or 8, was Street Fighter 2 World Warriors. That's where I learned how to do the Hadouken, the Shoryuken. These are all special moves. So Street Fighter 2 came out in 1989, 90, somewhere along those lines. And when you do special moves, a lot of characters have them. For me, it was this character called Ryu, who is kind of like the face of the franchise. He has this move where you start holding the joystick. At the time it was joysticks. Now you can do it on pad. The direction doesn't change. A pad is a little directional pad you see on controllers, such as like the PlayStation controller, Xbox controller, Nintendo controller, or what have you. The directions don't change. It's just the method of how you input, because the arcade stick usually requires a whole hand, or a little digital pad requires mainly just your thumb. But the move doesn't change. But when I started playing this game, I didn't know what to do in this game. I put in my quarter. I saw people doing Hadoukens, and the Hadouken is a fireball special attack that starts when you hold the stick down and quickly move it up to the front facing angle. So if you're on the one player side, because this game is 2-dimensional, meaning that you have two characters facing each other off. They can move laterally, and they can jump up and down or crouch down. They can move laterally, but there's no circular movement. There's no 360, so it's flat, right? So if you're on the first player side, you're facing the right side. So in order to do the Hadouken, you would hold down on the stick and then quickly move it forward, a one continuous motion from down, forward, and then press one of the punch buttons. And that would, if you did it correctly, you would get a Hadouken. And you would go Hadouken, and you would see a fireball. If you did it the reverse way, where you would go down, back, and then backwards, and press a kick button, he had his spinning kick. So, I mean, but that was how we started, you know what I'm saying? Like, I looked at it, I was like, how the fuck do you do a Hadouken? Like, I would see people do it. It literally took me 2 or 3 weeks to find somebody to actually just tell me how to do Hadoukens. Up until that point, me and a couple buddies were like, no, how do you do it? I think I know how to do it. And it was all incorrect. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that we got them doing those things was probably more of the game buffering some of the movements instead of actually respecting the correct movements. And it wasn't until I remember the day too, and this is like the weirdest thing. So I remember when I was at the arcade stick playing some dude. Actually, I wasn't even playing him. He was watching me play. And I'm over here I'm just yanking on this damn stick trying to get the Hadouken out. I got like maybe 2 or 3 of them out, right? And then he pulled me aside. This dude was older too. He was like 15, 16, I want to say. So he was already like in high school and shit. I'm just some little ass kid just trying to, play this game with the rest of these grown ass dudes. And he goes, "Hey, why do you do the fireball that way?" I'm like, "Well, isn't that how you do it?" Like me and the homie said, "This is not this is not how you do it." He's like, "Look, come here." And he took his quarter. He took his quarter, put it in the machine, and said, "Look, all you gotta do is do this." And he showed me down, forward, punch button. A wonk in the joint. And Hadouken, Hadouken, Hadouken. He was like, "You try." I'm like, Hadouken, Hadouken. I was like, "Oh shit, like this is fucking dope." And I was doing it. He's like, "Hey, if you do it the backwards, you can do the helicopter kick." I was like, "Oh, for real?" So I was like, "Oh," so like, and then I'm just doing this, right? We were given like maybe 30, 35 seconds to kind of do this whole thing really, really quick. All of a sudden, some dude's like, "Hey, can I play?" I'm like, yeah, play, play this young kid. Dude gets on. I forgot who he picked. And here I am, Hadouken, Hadouken. I ended up winning that match. He was like, "There you go, like he was hyping me up." And it's funny that I remember this now because I really literally forgot about that moment up until this moment. And I remember him hyping. I'm like, "Yeah, you got it, blah blah blah." I was like, "Damn, that's fucking dope," And then the next one I ended up losing, and I told him thank you very much, and he was like, "Yeah, no problem, man, no problem." I was like, "Oh." And then the next day when I went to go visit with the friends, I whooped his ass because I knew how to do the Hadouken and he didn't. And then I taught him after I whooped his ass a couple times, but I needed to win first. Where the fuck was I with the story? Well, anyways, so as I was saying, I had the kid. I'm lost now. I had the kid, and I already knew how to take care of it. Wife didn't, and I attribute a lot of what I did there to just having strong footsies, to having a strong basic fundamentals of what I needed to do as a kid. And for footsies are just basically strong fundamentals, like the ability to hit your opponent with just your regular attacks, pressing the punch, pressing the kick buttons, no special moves, no Hadoukens, no spinning kicks, nothing. It's like how can you put damage on your opponent by just using your basic buttons? Those are what footsies are. Fundamentals. You know what I'm saying? It's cool that you know how to do special attacks, but can, outside of special attacks, if it doesn't work, do you know how to put in damage on your opponent using your basic fundamentals, your footsies? So when I had my kid, I already knew a couple specials. But I had a very strong understanding of my footsie game, my fundamentals. Well, that was the matchup. And if we were to break it down, wifey, and no disrespect to her, because she's a wonderful wife. She's a wonderful woman. She's a wonderful, amazing mom. But if we broke it down to fighting games, she was the one that needed the Brady guide. And the Brady guide, for people who don't know, is usually just like a big thick ass booklet that they charge you like $20 for, that has a listing of all the special moves, all the attacks, all the data for the characters, and all this other stuff, and it costs like $20. You know what I'm saying? And those were cool, but the thing is, the games get patched so quick now that the information in those books kind of becomes obsolete almost the day you buy them. It's like anything else. You know what I'm saying? But that was, at the time, that's who my wife was. She was the one that needed the Brady guide. She needed the tutorial to find out. And luckily, I was there for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was there to mentor her up when it came to like just getting her footsie game strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, giving her the strong fundamentals, knowing that she can do this. I was her mentor. I was her dojo master. I gave our son his first bath. I would wake up to change his diaper for like the first month and a half before she became comfortable with him not appearing so fragile. So like I was coaching her in this parenting, you know what I'm saying? I was showing her the footsies before she got into the specials of like giving the baby a shower. I traded fundamental secrets with her. Not secrets, just fundamentals. And that was what I did. So that was kind of how the first like 6 months to a year was. It was just like me just having fundamentals. That was my matchup. I didn't really need much. The baby just needs to be fed every 2 hours, every 3 hours. Maybe 3 to 4 hours as they get older. It needs to be changed when it needs to be changed. Poop, pee, throw up, diarrhea up the back, whatever the case may be. They need to be bathed whenever they need to be bathed. And, those are all fundamentals. That's necessarily like almost the first year. Up until they start cracking teeth. And then you gotta learn some more stuff, just a little bit, cold compress, some gels or whatever to kind of soothe the teeth. But this is all kind of just basic thinking. Once a kid gets older, that's when you gotta learn some specials. When they start to talk, that's when some of the special moves need to come out. At the first, it's more defensive special moves. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able to block these attacks. Because I've always talked to my child the way I talk to an adult. People look at me weird when I say that. People look at me suspicious when I do that. But babies are people. Babies are human. Yes, they may not understand the entirety of what you're trying to tell them, but they understand the tone in which you're telling them. Words, in a sense, don't matter. The words are mainly just for us, but the tone in which you try to tell them is. But at the same time, if you can associate that tone with certain words, the basic understanding of those words becomes stronger in your child. So it makes your overall life easier if you don't try to cater to them. If you don't try to provide input lag, as I like to say. And what I mean by input lag is, this has become a very popular topic in fighting games, is when you press a punch button, there's always a certain amount of latency between the moment you submit the command and by the time you see the command. That's called lag, the latency lag. It exists in every game just because that's how everything is. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you flip the lights on, it looks instantaneous, right? From the moment you flip that switch to the light coming on, it looks instantaneous, but it's just because the signal is really, really fast. There's always a little bit of lag there. You know what I'm saying? It's not the exact moment. It's just very, very fast. In fighting games, it's the same thing. When you push the punch button, there's going to be a little bit of latency from the time you push it to the time that it goes to the console and the time you display it. There's always some lag. There's always some latency there. So I always try to remove as much latency between the communications of me and my kid. Always. I just never felt like it helped. It's kind of like in a fighting game when you play somebody who doesn't know how to play. Like, look, I'm not going to do specials. I'm not going to go out and try to hammer out combos, because then at that point, you don't really learn shit. I'm just going to go in there and just beat you with my fundamentals. Just so if you really are interested in learning something, you can see the basic concepts of the game. So you can understand what's going on, so I can explain to you what's going on, what I'm actually doing to you one step at a time. If all I do is just beat you with one punch button and you keep getting hit by that punch button, I can explain to you what's going wrong. That's the way I always approach teaching my kids something. One jab at a time, one kick at a time, one whatever at a time. I never try to speak to my child with more complicated manners or mannerisms than I felt he could handle for him being so young in life. That's how I approached it. Okay, so that phase of landing fundamentals, and it wasn't always one punch. It was like one, and then maybe like a 1-2, maybe 1-2, and then maybe throw like a special attack, just to be like, oh no, he's not ready for that one, just so I could learn. Like, is he learning at the same time? Like, like if I can go in there and punch, kick, and then Hadouken, like. Is he gonna learn? Like, did he get caught by that too much? Like, was that overpowering for him? Like, I need to know where we at, like gauge wise. I need to, and I would get him with a couple, and that was kind of how I approached it. Was like that. It was all fundamentals, it was all footsies. I'm saying, just going forward. Once he started school, it became a little different, because at that point he wasn't just in my arcade anymore. He wasn't just in my wife's arcade anymore. He was going out to different arcades. He was going out to the classroom. He was going out to the recess room. He was going out to lunch. He was going out to, wherever, with people that we didn't know, kids we didn't know, mannerisms that we didn't know, picking up habits that we had no no influence in on. Not all of them are bad. Some of them are good, but you know what I'm saying. But you pick stuff up. Again, for me, it was fighting game mentality. If you go to one arcade growing up, I'm an arcade rat. I grew up in the arcades. If you go to one arcade, you're gonna have some people that probably just beat you all the time with one specific character. Eventually, you learn how to maybe not necessarily beat that person all the time, but you know how to fight against that character. If that person is really, really good with that one character, but that person is always on the machine because he's just that great with that character, you're going to learn that matchup. And the matchup is just like it sounds. It's just a matchup. Like, you're going to learn the character matchup. Kind of like when you see boxing or you see fighting or any type of sports, they go, hey, let's see how these teams match up. That's essentially what I'm trying to convey here. So that person's going to learn that matchup. You're going to learn that matchup against that one specific character. Correct? So eventually, like, if he's the best, like, we'll say Ken. You know what I'm saying? So if you're Ryu and he's the best Ken player, Ken being the best friend and kind of like the counterpart to Ryu in the Street Fighter franchise, if he's the best Ken and you're going to learn that Ken matchup. So if you fight another Ken who's not as good as the Ken that you've been practicing against, you're gonna beat them because you've learned so much for that Ken matchup. You're going to beat those Kens that are not as good as the one that's been beating you, right? As long as you go to that arcade and there's other Kens there that are not quite as good as this Ken, you're gonna beat all the other Kens. So you're gonna know that matchup and that scenario very, very good. Now, say, you know what I'm saying, either the scene dried up, the homies haven't showed up, or you just want you find yourself somewhere else and there's a machine there. You gonna pop in the quarter? Why not? You gonna pop in the quarter? It's Street Fighter. You popping in the quarter. Pop in the quarter. You know what I'm saying? First guy that comes out, you might get lucky. Might be a Ken matchup. Oh, okay. This dude got Ken. Pop, 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 pop. You know what I'm saying? Land on the specials. Whoop his ass. And he's like, oh, okay. This dude knows how to play against Ken. What if dude actually knows more than one character? The matchups. Say the next one, he picks Blanca. Blanca, for anybody who doesn't know, is a character. He kind of looks... It's fucked up because I don't want to call him a monster, but I think that's what they refer to him as. He looks like a monster. He's green. He has spiky ass hair, and he actually has different moves than Ken, Ryu, and a couple other ones. He's what's known as a charge character. Now, a charge character basically is you will hold one certain position for a while, whatever the move dictates. You will hold one position for at least 2 seconds, and then flick the controller the opposite way and get a special move, as opposed to the down, forward, or down, backwards with an attack button to do the moves. This one requires, so if you're facing the one player side for Blanca instance, you actually hold back for 2 seconds and then flick it forward after 2, press the punch button, you get a little rolling ball, right? So playing against people who weren't as good as Blanca, what you would see is Blanca going back, and he has like this weird crawl animation. He'd be walking back and then press forward and you see the ball. After a while, that tends to be what you look for when you're a novice at the game. Oh, he's looking back. Oh, I gotta be careful because he's charging up for the rolling attack. Okay, but what if this Blanca knows not only strong fundamentals but has little nuances of the game you haven't picked up yet? So one of the beauties of charge characters in this game is, if you hold down back, correct, however you want to say down back is always flipped on opposite sides. If you hold down back, your character will literally just crouch down and just look there. In this game, when you have the back position held, the character will block. That's how you block incoming attacks. You just hold back and they will attack. If you hold back, like back standing, back neutral as we call it, you'll block all the high attacks. But if they come in low, they'll hit your feet because you're not blocking your feet. So for charge characters, if you hold down back, they will block all mid-range shots, which the Hadouken is a mid-range shot, and they will block every attack move. So they can literally just crouch down and stay there, and they won't have a block animation until you actually go try to attack. But if they hold down back and they're just pressing buttons, jabs come out. They don't have to hit. They just come out. Okay, swipe, swipe. You go to jump in thinking, oh, this guy, what the hell is he doing? You go to jump in or you go to move in closer because you're thinking he's just like messing with you and he's just there waiting for you. All of a sudden, he presses forward really quick, presses the punch button, and you get hit with the tail. Like, what the fuck happened? Like, you weren't even charging that. That's a little nuance. Down back still counts as holding back because it combines both commands together and is giving you credit for both. Down back. So if you hold it, you have the position of down, but you're still doing the functionality of back, which is the blocks and the charge. So if you're in the down back position, and you can probably see this better on the YouTube channel, but if you're in the down back position and you flick forward, you can literally do a rolling punch from the position that you're in as long as you hold the back position or the down back position long enough. Little nuances, the matchups. You need to learn these matchups. That's what we're trying to learn when the kid went into kindergarten. You know, and I needed to learn. I needed to learn these things because he would pick up words or he would pick up habits, little customs that I didn't teach him. My wife didn't teach him. My brother and sister didn't teach him. Grandpa and grandpa didn't teach him. Where the fuck is he picking it up? He's picking it up from the arcades. I've never been one to tell my kid ever. I've never been one to tell my kid that this is the way it has to be. That what I say goes. I'm the king of this house. I'm the ruler. I'm your father. You do as I say. I've never been one to do that with my kid. I want him to be his own person. I want him to follow his own dreams, his own ambitions, and have that for himself. So I've never been one to say this is the way you gotta do shit. I didn't listen to my parents, and I am who I am. He doesn't necessarily have to listen to me. He just has to, respect me while we're at home. You know what I'm saying? Like if I tell you, hey, go throw out the trash, go throw out the trash. You know what I'm saying? At that point, there's going to be some parenting that we have to do there, and we'll get to that later. But as far as him finding himself, I've never been one to kind of push him towards a certain way. He has to find himself. You know what I'm saying? So he was learning some tricks going to school. I had to relearn the matchup. All of a sudden, footsies weren't enough because I was getting hit. I was getting hit with shit. I was getting hit with rolling attacks that he picked up somewhere else. So now I was like, oh, okay. So you learned some specials. These weren't the specials that I showed you or that I have because I haven't showed you really shit. But, all of a sudden you picked up some specials and I'm getting hit with the pie. Like, the fuck? I'm not going to get hit by this fucking bullshit. But I had to learn the matchup. As he got older, like, hey, like he'd pick up some stuff or he'd pick up little habits. Most of them were like talking back. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I could have been an asshole and went in for like a really devastating combo or a really devastating attack. But what is he going to learn out of it? He's not going to learn anything off of that. Right? So like, okay, you learned some specials. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to pop you. You know what I'm saying? I had popped you with a Hadouken once when you were growing up. I popped you with a spinning kick when you were growing up. At that time, I felt it was too much, but now I'm feeling like it might not be enough. You know what I'm saying? Because you picking up some tricks I didn't teach you, so you're learning something. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? So, I would just talk to him. Not necessarily him with the Hadouken or anything. Just kind of fundamentals in the footsies. I would call him over and have my guard up. I block some of these attacks. I block them up, take that little chip damage. I'm not too proud to take chip damage from my kid. Still not. Take a little bit of chip damage, be like, oh, I'm like, hey, where'd you learn this? Where are you picking this up from? Where are you learning this motherfucking rolling attack? Because I'm not teaching you. And again, the conversations are not always are super detailed. He was still a kid, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't know lies. I just want to understand him. I want to understand him, and I want him to understand me. This is how we start. We share tech, and tech in this term is like kind of how it sounds. It's technology. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to learn the game from a technical standpoint. You're trying to understand the nuances of the game. So at this point, I'm just sharing tech with my kid. You know what I'm saying? We're coming up together. We're still in the infancy. You know what I'm saying? We're still not really into combos and devastating attacks and stuff like that. We're just learning the tech. You know what I'm saying? We're sharing tech here. You know what I'm saying? So he would pick up some stuff. I'm like, okay, so I gotta learn. You know, I gotta teach him. I gotta teach him. I gotta keep my guard up. You know, take this little chip damage. See where he's learning this tech from. See what tech he actually has. And he was like, oh, you know, me and Whoop-de Whoop been hanging out. Me and this guy, me and so been hanging out. Or I see that this kid acts this way and blah, 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 blah. You know, and I tell him, like, look, man, like, it's cool that you have friends. It's cool that, you know, a lot of things are going the way that you're moving up. You're becoming your own person. You know what I'm saying? At 5 years old, you know, you got to be your own person. You got to start finding yourself, you know, because, I mean, we all try to treat our kids with tutorials all the motherfucking time. You know what I'm saying? We trying to pamper them and give them tutorials to life. That only works for so long. You know, eventually these tutorials are not going to prepare them for real life, because when they get out there, when they turn 18 and they off to college, or they got to go get a job, or you kick them out the house because you feel like they're too old and they got to go find an apartment, and you've been fucking giving them tutorials for 18 fucking years, what's gonna happen? The world doesn't give a fuck if all they know is fucking tutorials. The world doesn't give a fuck if they've been pampered their whole life. The world doesn't give a fuck. The world is gonna fucking hit them with combos. The world is gonna fucking hit them with Hadoukens and spinning kicks and all this other shit that you never taught them, because you didn't want to make their fucking life hard. You're not teaching them the matchups of the game of life. You're not teaching them those fucking matchups. Anyways, I'll get to that point later. You know what I'm saying? So. And there came a time, like in the first or second grade, where he kind of picked up not bad habits, just habits that were not going to trend any positive way. You know, the fundamentals. He was breaking the fundamentals. You know what I'm saying? He tried to skip steps. He was breaking fundamentals. So I talked to him again around first or second grade. And he hit me with some shit. And I really can't remember what he hit me with. But then I pulled out some hidden tech. Or tech that's been in the game that he didn't know about. You know, I hit him with the Shoryuken. The Shoryuken, for people who don't know, is the Dragon Punch that Ken and Ryu can actually do. And Tiger Uppercut for a boss character that was introduced later in Street Fighter called Sagat. And this one's a little different. Unlike the spinning kick and the Hadouken, the fireball, it's not one continuous motion from down to the to either way. You know what I'm saying? Going from down forward punch for Hadouken, down back kick for the spinning kick. This one actually starts with you going forward. So you have to not hold it, but you got to start that movement at the forward position, and then again in one continuous motion, bring the stick or command on the D-pad from the forward position to the down position, and then end it on your down forward position with a punch button. He does a Shoryuken. A little bit more complicated. Not as movement, a little bit different muscles being used, different dexterity required. So he popped me with something. I Shoryukened his ass. Shoryuken! Bah! You know, he was stunned. And stunned is a term that's used as when you attack. Most games have this. When you attack a character for so much and inflict so much damage, they get dizzy, where they lose control of the character. They can't do anything but take another follow-up, depending on how far you are from them. Like, they can't shake out of it. They can't press buttons to get out of it faster. But in most instances, people who inflict damage are usually pretty close to you. And once you get dizzy, you're going to eat extra combos. So he hit me with something. I popped him with the damn Shoryuken. I stunned his ass. You know, he's shaking it with stars and shit in his head. And I remember him calling me out. He was like 7. Dad, why would you say this to me? And I'm pretty sure what I told him was I'm pretty sure I hit him with some pretty fucked up shit. Again, I've never been one to baby my kid. Never once have I ever been able to baby was I ever, you know, like in that thing of like, oh, my baby's too precious to get fucking hit. Nah, you not. I love you to fucking death. He is my soul. To this day at 14, he will always be my soul. He will be the sole reason why I do anything in this life. Will be him. I've felt this way about him since the first moment I saw him coming to this earth, and I feel about them now, even though sometimes now I just want to fucking strangle his ass. But still, deep down inside, he is my sole reason for existing on this planet. It's him. But even at that, I'm not going to baby him. It would be a disservice and a disrespectful thing to my child to fucking baby him. But anyways, he hit me, I hit him back, and he called me out. Dad, why? Why, Dad, why? I told him, look, man, you need to stop. You are escaping the fundamentals that I'm trying to teach you, and you're trying to grow up too quick. I understand that there are some kids your age that have been doing this stuff, that do things a certain way, that they learn it from whoever it is they learned it from. That's fine. That's them. That's not you. I'm not saying everything you've picked up from kids is a bad thing, because they've introduced you to different techniques, different ways of thinking that help you understand what life is going to be about. So I have no problem with that. The problem that I have is when you learn something bad and you bring it back to the house and you're disrespecting me and your mother, your uncle, your aunt, your grandmother, your grandma. I don't care who it is that you're disrespecting. You know, your cousins, your Nino, your Nina. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck who you're disrespecting. This is not going to be allowed to happen. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. Not once is it going to be ever okay for you to disrespect. And this is what's going on here. You're disrespecting us. That's not okay. That was the matchup that needed to be learned. I could have just popped his ass. I could have. I could have turned his ass around, hit him with the fucking touch of death combo, meaning one hitter quitter, and not necessarily put an end to that behavior, or put an end to that instance of that behavior. It was a matchup game. He wasn't going to learn anything from being hit with a touch of death. And a touch of death is something that's more popular in games like Dragon Ball FighterZ or Marvel, where literally if you get one hit and you can execute the rest of your follow-up hits correctly, that character is not going to get to play. That character is going to die. The touch of death. Literally one hit that leads into that character dying. I could have done that to him at a young age. What for? He's not going to learn anything from it. Yes, it puts an end to that instance, but he's not going to learn anything from it. All he's going to learn is he didn't like to getting hit with that shit, and he's going to do everything possible to not get hit with that shit, which could include lying, which could include a bunch of other shit that I really don't want to deal with. I don't want to deal with lying. I don't want to deal with dishonesty. I don't want to deal with as a kid, like, I don't want to deal with him thinking that being home with dad and mom is not a safe place. And I feel like touch of death combos make that such a thing when they're that young. You know, so I popped him to show you. He got dizzy. He called me out. Told him, like, hey, you know, this is not going to fly, dude. Like, this is not going to fly. You're not gonna be disrespectful in this house. Like, you just not. And that battle persisted pretty much throughout all of elementary. You know what I'm saying? Little by little. I never really got too crazy with him. And then in middle school, he started finding some stuff, and he started doing band, he started doing golf, he started doing all these other things. I would see the way he would behave with his friends sometimes. That's when the combos came out. But it wasn't really me executing combos and hitting him. It was me executing combos in front of him and telling him what I'm doing. He was ready. Seeing interactions that he had with his friends, seeing interactions that he had with his bandmates, with his golf mates, with his coaches, anybody else, he was ready. Because we're getting compliments from his coaches, from his teachers, that he's such a joy to work with, that when I speak to him, it's like almost like speaking to like a mini adult, because nothing really escapes his grasp. Like, he understands a lot of what I'm trying to tell him. Like, yes, some things are over his head because he's still a thing, but for the most part, he is understanding about 80% of the things I'm trying to tell him. And this is teachers and coaches telling us about our son. And that feels good to hear. You know, that feels good to hear. That we have that we train him fundamentally strong where he's understanding some more advanced techniques. So having hearing him like, okay, he's ready. He understands what the fuck he's actually doing. He understands the game now. Or at least he understands it at an intermediate level for the most part. So about a year or two ago, when he's, tween, 11, 12, 13, he's 14 now. I guess he was trying to find himself, but he just wasn't doing the right things. Like yelling, having having very big emotional outbursts, just having a hard time with failure is the biggest thing. You know what I'm saying? Plus bullying and other little things that happen at school. Like he was a bully. Like he wasn't being he wasn't bullied. He was being bullied. While everything's going on, he's being bullied by kids at his school. So, now all of a sudden, life is getting very complicated. It's not so simple now. It's not just us taking you to school, you coming back home, and that's it. Now it's, you're in golf, you're going to school, you're taking 6 different classes, you're being exposed to, to 6 different sets of kids for the most part. Not every kid's going to fucking like you. Now it's like, okay, cool, I got to teach you advanced techniques. I got to teach you that super secret tech. And that's how I've been approaching most of what I do with him, teaching him that tech. You know what I'm saying? Teaching him like, like when it came to the course of bullying, and I think I've spoken about this. I think like in episode 2, episode 3. I think I titled the show "Bully for You." When I talked about being bullies or being bullied or being bully or being a bully, I did cover that. And I talked to him. I told him like, look, bro. I don't know how much confidence you have in your physical abilities, but for the most part is if you're going to punch somebody, you got to make sure you can put them down, because if not, you're going to get fucked up. That's just the facts of life. Those are just the facts. You know what I'm saying? So he understood that, and him and the funny part about it is that people like him so much that a lot of parents, volunteer parents that would see this, they would go out of their way to kind of help him. And be like, hey, because they would know the other kid, you know what I'm saying? Because they grew up with them or they seen them growing up. And like, hey, I heard that you're picking on my friend Nathan. Why is this happening? And out of like the 4 or 5 bullies, 4 or 5, yeah, about the 4 or 5 bullies my kid has had in his whole life, he became pretty good acquaintances with like 3 of them. You know what I'm saying? They weren't friends. You know what I'm saying? They had some interest, but they just weren't friends. Like they weren't gonna hang out, but they could be at the same place together and not have any problems. So he became very good acquaintance with like 3 of them. Success. Not everybody's gonna fucking like you, but if you can be at a place with people that respect you, even if they started hating you, success. And now it becomes this whole thing of like going to high school, going through just probably the toughest part, because now you only got 4 years to kind of find yourself. What are you gonna do with your life? What do you want to do with your life? How are you going to accomplish the things you want to do with your life? What's going to happen here? What's going to happen there? Hey, these people are trying to get me to join their group, but these people also want me to do this, and I have an interest in both. Like, what do I do? These are the matchups that he needs to learn. This is the tech that I need to fucking show him. And all of it is just, I think we laid down the fundamentals. I think we laid down a lot of the special moves, and I think he's picked up a lot of them, and now it comes down to it. But I gave him the basics. Now it's his turn to go out there and see what he can do with it. What combos can he land for his life? And I'm letting him do it. I'm letting him take the tech that I showed him and letting him do whatever the fuck he wants with it. And hopefully we get successful results out of it. I can't be there to see him execute every single combo now. I just can't be. I'm too busy. Not for him, because I will always love him. But I gotta work. I'm on public transport 5 hours a day. While I'm working 8 hours a day. So, 13 hours out of the day, I don't see my kid. You know what I'm saying? We eat dinner for an hour and then we're asleep the rest of the time. He has to be asleep. He's waking up at 5:30 every morning, or actually 5:15 every morning now, to be at zero period band at 6:30 for a class that ends at 7:30. And then he has to go through a whole day of high school. He still does golf. He still has band practice some days. He has football games he has to play at. He just joined advanced choir. He still does golf on the weekends. Like, we just don't have a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm entrusting him that the tech that I showed him, he's going to be able to do something with. And I'm still trying to, like, subliminally show him tech. You know what I'm saying? But this is where the parenting part comes into it. Because now that he's out to try to find his own dojo and create his own arcade and have his own fighting game experience, I still have to be his mentor. I still have to be the one that's there showing him different tech in life. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, not everything is all, you know, fun and games. You know, when I got this new job, I started making a lot more money. I mean, it's not like a lot more, but, you know, fuck it, we'll call it a lot more money. And, you know, a lot more money than I'm accustomed to actually having. And we started spending it just because of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, cooking sometimes is hard. Cleaning sometimes is hard. Just time. You know what I'm saying? All the stuff he has to do. So, you know, after a long, long day and spending a lot of money eating out because that's all we had time for, we went to a place to go get some tacos. And I had talked to him. And I was like, hey, I want you to know, like, just because I'm making all this money, dude, it doesn't mean that I want to spend it all eating. Like, I still want to cook. I still want to do this. And nothing's changed for us. Like, nothing's changed. Just because I'm making more money doesn't mean that we can go out and eat every day. I don't want you to be upset like you seem to be all the fucking time when we talk about eating out. Then I'll say, oh, I'll cook at home. I'll cook. Like, you understand how stupid that is. And I do use those terms with him. Like, do you understand how stupid it is for you to be upset that you actually get to eat? Because you don't get to eat a specific thing, you're going to be fucking upset about eating. Then don't fucking eat. It's that fucking simple. You don't want to eat because you want this one specific thing that you want me to go spend $10 on a person. Instead, I can save a lot of this money. We can eat steak. Like, you're bitching about eating steak. You know what I'm saying? Because instead of spending like $30, I can go to like a Stater Brothers or another market, go get some steaks, go get some vegetables and some stuff, grill them up, or even put them in the house. Half the money, probably like $15-$16 right there. Boom, dude, you got a steak dinner and you bitching about that because you want this one specific. I'm like, dude, that doesn't make any fucking sense. You know what I'm saying? So we're in there eating tacos. I'm like, you know how much money I spent eating out this weekend? I'm like, dude, we just spent $25 here getting fucking tacos because it was like tacos, burgers, and like horchatas and shit. I'm like, look, we spent $25 here. We spent $25 here. We spent $50 last night. I'm like, dude, you know how much plus he was tired. I understood it. But, like, he thought he was going to, like, deflect my attack. And deflecting is a term that's, again, used mostly in Marvel and Dragon Ball Fighters, maybe some anime games. And basically, you have a command that you don't necessarily block the attack. You actually deflect it. Like, you can just swipe it away. So that's what he was trying to do with me. He was trying to deflect this shit. Again, tech that I didn't fucking show him. You know what I'm saying? So he fucking deflected. He thought he was gonna fucking be cool. He literally fucking looked at me and told me, man, they don't throw numbers in me right now. I'm too tired. I can't think about that. I'm like, oh. In my mind, I'm like, oh. He trying to use the deflect tech. Okay. Deflect tech. All right, cool. This dude came up with the deflect tech. Oh shit. Okay. So I kept talking, you know, I kept trying to attack and he tried to deflect. I baited that motherfucking deflect out. Boom. I'm like, bro, we spent $175 in the last 2 days on fucking food. Do you know what the fuck we could have done with the $175? Look, man, I'm not fucking bitching because I know that's fucking required. But you need to fucking understand that $175 on food for 2 fucking days is too fucking much. Every word that I just said right now is what I told him. Fucks and all. He's 14. He's heard fucking worse. I hit him with the TOD. I was not going to take that deflect tech. I wasn't going to hold that. I wasn't. Not from a 14-year-old. If he was 7 or 8, I'll let him get it with the deflect. Show him when to deflect properly, when not to deflect. This deflect was a little disrespectful. I'm not gonna fucking front. I felt a little disrespectful, so I fucking hit him with the fucking TOD. Look, man, I spent 25 here, 20 here. You understand what the fuck is going on here? You're lucky that I have the ability to fucking afford this right now. That I have the ability to take this damage right now. Because if not, you'd be eating a fucking ham sandwich right now. That's what you'd be eating. If you're lucky, you'd be eating a ham sandwich. If not, whatever the fuck was around the house. You are very, very fortunate. Don't tell me that you don't want to hear about the numbers I've been spending on you just to fucking eat. I don't want to hear that shit. And I hit him. I hit him with the TOD right there on the spot. That was the matchup. It's like, oh, you think you ready? You think you ready for the big leagues? You think you ready to fucking, deflect attacks from your daddy? You think you learned some shit? You think you learned some good tech? You think you got life awesome? Homie, sit your ass down with this TOD. That was an instance kill right there. I wasn't going to accept that instance. I wasn't going to let that instance roll and let him think he had actual legitimate tech. I wasn't going to let him think that some of the tips and tricks that he learned away from this dojo we're gonna all of a sudden be better than my tech. Wasn't having that. That's the fighting game mentality I'm talking about. You can learn some shit. You can always learn some shit. I'm still learning shit at 37 years old. I would never ever, unless I knew for a fact, and I've had this happen. My last boss was fucking trash. My last boss was fucking ass. I deflected his shit all the motherfucking time because he wasn't gonna hit me with anything. Those are just fucking facts. You know what I'm saying? But all I could do was deflect. I couldn't punish. And a punish in this terminology is when you see your opponent do something incorrect or you feel like they're doing something wrong, you can go ahead and attack them and punish them for doing something incorrectly. You know what I'm saying? But my last job, the boss, he was trash. He was absolute fucking trash. I could deflect his shit all fucking day. I just couldn't punish because his bosses had his back, not my back. So all I could do was deflect until I left. I left and and I'm good now. All I'm doing right now is learning. It's been a month in. We have varying different experiences. I think I have quite a bit more experience than some. Some have more experience than me in some areas, but the one thing that everybody who is trying to teach me something right now has experience in is that they have experience in the dojo. They have experience in that particular arcade. They have experience with the procedures of that place. I'm not going to try to take everything that I learned from everywhere that I visited and try to implement them into this one place. They have their own way about it. You know what I'm saying? All I can do is to learn the way that they do stuff, decipher it, break it down to the footsies, down to the fundamentals, and be like, where are we fucking up? If there's anything to be fucked up. Not saying that there is, because right now there isn't. But if something goes along, like, how can we go around fixing that as a team? I went and played in this arcade, that arcade, the other arcades, every other arcade around here. I went and played there to come and play in this arcade, because this was the big boy arcade. You know what I'm saying? This was the next big boy arcade. This is the one that everybody talked about that was too fucking far to drive. But now that I made the drive, now that I'm going here, what's the tech here? What are they doing here? That's what I'm learning. That all comes from fighting games. That you're never too fucking old to learn anything, because there's always going to be somebody that can teach you something. Always. Doesn't matter how whack you think they are. Doesn't matter how, because you don't know. Some people are better at studying and deciphering information through text, through words, through anything else than they are executing it. Because somewhere along the lines, what goes up in the mind, what stays in the mind, what you study in the mind, what you break down in the mind, doesn't always translate to you being able to execute those moves with the controller, or being able to verbally execute them correctly. Sometimes it just doesn't transfer. In a high pressure situation, in a matchup, sometimes it just doesn't transfer. But if you're home by yourself, if you're there just studying and breaking them down, like, you're gonna learn some shit. If this person is willing enough to be like, hey, I noticed that you do this, 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 and that. Why do you have that? Why are you doing this? And you tell them like, oh, the tech that I learned was blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, I see. But, I'm saying, like, in this arcade, that just seems very inefficient. So how about I teach you this tech? Ah, okay, cool. I'm just trying to be more efficient. I'm still trying to learn some stuff. I'm still learning. That's what I try to tell my kid all the time, man. All the time. And it all comes from fighting games. You have to learn the matchups in life. You have to learn what's important to learn first. And I break it down to him, like, when he gets disappointed off of golf or anything bad that he might have done, like, well, what did you do? What did you practice to get the result that you were wanting? Nothing. What the fuck did you expect to happen? You know what I mean? Wait. So you're telling me that you didn't even want to go and learn the fundamentals. You didn't want to go to the lab or the training room and learn your combos, but somehow you were expecting to win this matchup? Do you understand how that doesn't work? Do you understand this? But I'm like, nah, homie, I'm sorry. When it comes to this, there's only two ways about it. You can be proud in the effort that you gave, knowing that you had strong fundamentals, you had strong understanding of the game. You put those two together, went to the training room, execute the combos, try to do this, try to do everything to get it down to a routine. You go to the tournament, and if somewhere along the lines something happens and in your practice or execution, or you just practice the wrong things, take solace in the fact that you prepared the best of your abilities to prepare. You failed, but now you know where you failed. Start the cycle over with the new information that you have. Try again. If you're disappointed, that's understandable. It very much is so understandable that you would be disappointed at something like that. But if you had the footsie technology, if you had the special moves technology, you had the combos technology, but you didn't go to the training room, then went to the tournament and didn't win, no, I'm not taking disappointment there. I'm not accepting it. I don't give a fuck if you're crying. I don't care. I'm not going to accept that because you did nothing to try to change that outcome. You weren't going to win. You weren't going to be successful in this particular instance because you failed to prepare for this on the front end. Now, if you want to go to your next tournament, if you want to go to the next thing that you want to do and be successful there, realize what it takes. That you can't just go walk in somewhere because you think you know everything, but you can't execute it. So now all you can do is move past this. Stop being disappointed about it, because really the fact that whatever the thing was, that's what it was going to be, and move forward. If you want to change results for the next one, take what happened here, learn from it, execute it differently the next time. If you still happen to fail, take solace in the fact that you took a loss, that you still learned from your lack of preparedness from the last fight, and then you were able to move forward, take all that stuff, work harder, work more. You tried your best. Maybe it wasn't enough. Was the result better? Was your overall performance better? If the answer is yes, then you fucking won. Yes, I know that the leaderboards, the championships, the scoreboards are not going to reflect your effort. But if you feel that you gave a better performance overall, that's all you can do. There's always going to be somebody better than you are. There's always going to be somebody who just has a better understanding of the matchup than you do. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, golf is kind of like a good transition, because in golf, you're not fighting or you're not playing against the other people playing the course. You're playing the course. You're playing the course. You're not trying to beat so-and-so. You're not trying to beat this other person. You're not trying to beat them. What you're trying to do is beat the course better than anybody else is beating the course. You have to be able to execute everything that this course demands of you perfectly in order to have any amounts of success. And if you happen to make a mistake, you got to hope that this course produces the same mistake in somebody else. Because if they're able to execute what they need to better, they're going to win. It's matchups. All of everything in this world is fucking matchups. And literally, I can probably still talk here for like another 3 hours. I can get very, very like nuanced when it comes to like fighting games and the way that I implement this into just my frame of thinking when it comes to my kid, and it's really everything else. My godson, my nieces, my nephews, my marriage. And I can talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but I don't want to do that. But that is the way that I parent. I parent via the FGC. You know what I'm saying? That mentality. It's all about learning matchups. It's all about learning the tech leading up to the matchup, leading up to the game that you're playing. Not every game is going to be Street Fighter. You know what I'm saying? If you approach life and just only know one game, that's fine, but you're going to be lost when the game changes. You have to be able to learn, and you don't have to be able to master multiple games, but you got to be able to learn multiple games. Because there's going to be some time where you're going to get hit with some shit, some tech. You're like, damn, where the fuck did that come from? Only that's that Mortal Kombat tech. Oh, fuck. All right, what do I know about Mortal Kombat? And you go from there. Oh, what the fuck was that? Get hit from the other side. Oh, that was that Tekken tech. Oh, shit. All right, cool. What the fuck do I know about Tekken? Oh, I don't know shit. I got to learn some Tekken. You know what I'm saying? If you're interested in playing these games, I mean, you could always just not go to places where you're going to get hit with this, but that's not the way I live life. You know what I'm saying? I go live life and I play different games all the fucking time. Whether it's Dragon Ball, Street Fighter, Tekken, whatever, League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, like whatever the case may be, is, like I'm that's how I approach life, is like you have to break everything down. Like even the other games that are competitive, I break down like fighting games because it just makes sense to me. But that's the way I parent. That's the way that I am. That's my mentality when it comes to a lot of things in life. Is learn that tech, learn multiple techs, execute said techs, and just be ready. Just be ready when game time comes. Just be ready, man. All you can do is just be ready. Learn the matchups. Learn whatever matchups you have to do to be successful in life. I've been very, very fortunate in my life with like that type of mentality of always wanting to learn has led me to, again, not great success, in the grand schemes of the American dream, but considering where I grew up, where I was born, what I came from, and where I am now, fuck, man, I look at my life and I go, fuck, man, I'm pretty fucking successful. You know what I'm saying? Some little brown baby from West Hollywood growing up, to immigrant parents. My mom, she got her citizenship like 5-6 years ago, which is fucking awesome. My dad's still on his green card. But like I look at my life and I had this revelation. Like I'm like, damn, I'm 36 and I'm making more money at 36 than both my parents did when they were 36. So I consider myself successful. My hope is by the time I'm their age now, and my mom is like 55, I believe. In 2019, 4 years. No, she's 56. She just turned 56. My dad is gonna be 60 something. So by the time I hit their age, you know what I'm saying, even before that, I'm hoping I can hit 6 figures. That would literally be like the dream of mine. If I can hit 6 figures by the time I'm like in my 40s or mid 40s, from where I started, man, I would consider myself a wild success. I consider myself a mild success now. If I accomplished that by the time I hit those ages, I would consider myself a huge success in life. I consider myself a bigger success in life if my kid goes to college, graduates with honors, and then makes something of his life, knowing that I helped make him who he is. Not that I made him, because I didn't. I would never take 100% credit for things that my child does. Ever. I showed him the footsies. I showed him footsies, I showed him advanced techniques, I showed him combos, and I showed him how to execute those combos. That's all I did. That's all I did. That's 10% of the game. The other 90% is you learning the matchups, you going out there executing yourself, you going out there and getting the results that you want in life. He would have put in the other 90%. That percentage gets lower the more successful he becomes, the older he gets. Because by that time, he's not relying on you for shit. At the end of the day, all I can say that he'll probably rely on will be like the footsies that I show him in life, the fundamentals. That's it. That's going to be like 3% of his life total. That's it, 3%. Everything else will be him. Just like my parents showed me how to do the fundamentals in life, but that's only 3% of my success. None of them showed me how to use a computer. None of them showed me how to QA, games and apps and have that mentality. Nobody told me how to fucking think the way that I think. Nobody told me how to do my job the way that I know how to do my job. Nobody told me how to do anything, but they showed me strong fundamentals. My mom is one of the hardest working people I've ever known in my life. She's a fucking beast. She works harder than I do. But I just happen to work smarter than she does. But she works a lot fucking harder. My dad works hard. I'm not gonna fucking front. But what I got from my dad the most is people skills. My dad's one of those dudes that just talks to everybody, says hello to everybody. Hello, how are you? How you feeling? And I realized once I started picking that up, my success started becoming a little bit better. It's just me taking those fundamentals and executing them the way that I thought I needed to execute them. But it's 3%. It'll be the same for him. But that's all fighting game shit right there. That's the way I look at everything, man. It's just I'm taking the fundamentals, learning matchups. I'm trying to teach my kid the matchups, but his matchups are going to be different than mine. But the fundamentals are pretty much the same. Well, that's it for this episode. I can keep talking. I don't want to keep talking. I do, but it's going to be long-winded. I feel like it already is. If you have any other questions, if you guys have any other topics you would like to discuss, comment either on the SoundCloud page here where this is listed, on the YouTube page where this will be posted. If you want to send me an email, right now there's literally no emails coming in, so the likelihood of you getting a response, if you need a response, is very, very high. Most likely 100%. The email is mobanterpodcast@gmail.com. That's mobanterpodcast@gmail.com. Again, I welcome all emails. If you just want to shoot me a comment that says, hey, you're an asshole, I appreciate it. Thank you. I understand. But this has been fun, and seeing as I haven't done this in a month and a half, it's pretty fantastic to kind of get out here and speak again and just kind of have my thoughts out there in the world somewhere. Even if they don't help anybody else, it helped me kind of empty the vault of feelings and stuff that I've had. That is actually very liberating and very, very helpful to the grand scheme of my mental health. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching if you're on YouTube. Thank you guys for clicking. Thank you guys for everything. I hope that you're out there living life the best possible way that you can, being the best possible people that you can be. Respect yourselves, respect one another, and the world will become a better place. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for listening, watching. This has been Mo, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.